Welcome to the Sound System of My Church, Section A. Another FAQ, Frequently Asked Question. To be more specific, this lecture is based on several Q&A sessions. As for the previous one, it cannot be the complete story, but a few key items are presented. In this section, we will see installation, configuration, and measurements. To start this section A, a question. What is the main use of the auditorium, the sanctuary? Between baptism, concert, movie presentation, teaching, the sermons, theater play, wedding, worship. On the audio and acoustic point of view, the sanctuary is similar to a lecture hall, the main use being speaking, teaching. In a small church sanctuary, the AVL booth is often seen as a problem, something cumbersome, which takes too much space. A common tendency is to hide it in a corner somewhere. The question, what do you think? I think no, this is really not a good idea. In auditoriums, as well as in lecture and concert halls, the AVL booth is right in the center at the back of the room. Also, this booth is on a riser in order to see something when people are standing. For your sanctuary, there is no difference. It should be in front of the center stage for a better viewing position. It also offers much better listening of the FOH, front of house speakers. What about backup for audio lines? When installing a snake between the stage box and the AVL booth, having more lines than necessary is a good idea for backup purposes. In this example, you need 16 lines, have 24. And if you have a digital snake using a RG45 computer cable, having another cable on a separate physical path is also a good idea as a backup. Your layout and stuff. You will have to do audio for the auditorium, maybe audio for the stage monitoring, and audio for the streaming service, operation of the streaming software, monitoring of that service, and playing video clips if requested, as well as PowerPoint slide when needed. 2 techs are required. Also, it's well advised that the third tech sits in the front row to help on stage with mics, stands, and lecterns when needed. In addition to having earphones, a small pair of speakers in the booth may be something useful. Flyable speakers. If you hang speakers to a truss system, make sure that those speakers are designed and built for that purpose. Also, install those according to the standard, the building code, for a commercial site. An example here of flyable speakers as presented in the installation manual from TOA Electronics. On a mixing board, you often have a mono or center channel. In the cluster configuration, the center speaker would be aligned straight ahead, the right speaker would be aligned a little to the right, and the left speaker would be aligned a little to the left. The 3 speakers leaning a little downward. If you want to use subwoofers in that configuration, they would have to be hanging on the truss system as well. An example from TOA Electronics again. The speakers and sub can also be directly on the stage, but make sure that the sound from the speakers is not blocked by people when they are standing. Power requirement. My advice is to use several specific electrical outlets of a different colors on separate dedicated circuits and breakers for the AVL equipment. You should be able to make the evaluation of your electrical needs. The simple formula is power in watts equals voltage times current. A 15 amps circuit offers a very maximum of 1,800 watts. I'm not an electrician, but I will not use more than 1200 watts on that 15 amps circuit. I do not want the breaker to trip because the equipment needs may change a little with time. Now a few answers about the mixing board. All input channels can be routed directly to the right and left output channels, or to subgroups 1, 2, or 3, 4. We will see in our example that podium microphone, wireless microphone, and line-in content can be assigned directly to the left and right output. Choir singers to subgroup 1 and 2, and the band, the musician, to subgroup 3 and 4. Note that those two subgroups are assigned to the left and right output. If you have an amplified instrument filling well the sanctuary, there is no need for routing its signal to the FOH, but you will have to use a mic or a line with a direct box for the streaming only. The Aux Send. It is used for the audio of the streaming service, which need a different mix than the one for the sanctuary. Each input channel has an Aux Send with a pre-post fader switch. We use post fader for streaming. The board has a master volume control for each Aux Send. Point 1 and 2. To start with, we position the subgroup faders at nominal level value 0. The left and right output faders also at the nominal level 0. Point 3. The mono fader at infinite because we don't use it. The input channels. There are a few ways to set this. Here's one. First, the pastors, teachers, announcers, or musical director mic on the podium. 1. Use the gain to match the source specification for the best dynamic range and lowest noise. 2. Use the high-pass filter, 100 Hz, for speech. 3. Assign directly to left and right. Then adjust the fader accordingly. Second, the choir mics. 1. For each mic, use the gain to match the source specification for the best dynamic range and lowest noise. 2. Assign directly to subgroup 1 and 2. Then adjust the fader individually accordingly for each mic. Last, have the complete choir singing with all the mics and adjust the subgroup accordingly, probably a few dB down. The same settings apply to the lead instrument and when adding other instruments. For the instruments not amplified by your FOH system in the sanctuary, you will still need mics, but it's for the streaming service only. The only assignation is to the Aux Send channel, point 2. While doing this, balance is mandatory. Balance between different instruments of the band, balance between the band and the choir. And this is for the sanctuary as well as for the streaming feed. Amplifiers and acoustic power. When the board main output level is at nominal level, the amplified speaker's power can be adjusted to provide intelligible sound without being too loud. A church sanctuary is not a rock concert hall. The sound pressure level in dB SPL should be at least 25 dB over the noise floor. It can be something like 60 dB for speech and 70 dB for music. Cables have to be tested. We have here a 10 types of audio cable tester from DBX and a RG45 network cable tester by Trendnet. Electrical power consumption of your AVL equipment also need to be tested. There is an instrument by Qman to do just that. If you plan to go not only full digital, but digital audio over IP, A quite common protocol is Dante from Audinate. Before doing anything, learn first. It's free, from basic information to full certification program. They even provide layouts for house of worship, small and larger. The site is www.audinate.com/learning. That's it for Section A. You are now invited to follow up with Section B.